Okay, so we are ready for the Torah of the Ma'ari Nayim, Parshat Re'eh, Nachman of Chernobyl, and Parshat Re'eh is about seeing. It said, "See, I've given to you for today a blessing and a curse," and so this is all about the power of sight and how we're able to see the goodness in the world, and how this is going to give us life. Okay, and he starts with a very important diuk in the pasuk, very important inference. That if you look at the beginning of the pasuk, so it's like this. It's a question that like everybody that reads the pasuk, this question really shouts out. Really is very obvious. It says as follows: that Re'eh Anochi Noten Lefnechem Hayom Bracha U'Klala. That see, I'm giving before you today a blessing and a curse. Et habracha shatishmu, the bracha if you listen, vehaklala im lo tishmu, and the curse is if you don't listen to Hashem. Okay, so the blessing is if you listen. It's a blessing to listen to Hashem, and it's a curse not to listen to Hashem. And yet there's a difference in the way that the Torah words this psukim. That when it talks about the blessing, it says et habracha. When it talks about the curse, it doesn't say et haklala, but rather it says vehaklala. Okay, so what's it skip? It skips the word et. Okay, so this is the question is why does the Torah, when talking about the curse and the blessing, so it differentiates between the blessing and the curse, that when it talks about the blessing it says et habracha, and when it talks about the curse it doesn't use the word et. Okay, this is a very basic question. Like et is usually it's usually a grammatical thing. It doesn't make sense grammatically why we should make a difference between the two psukim. They seem to be built exactly the same thing. Et is one of those words that like when you first learn Hebrew, like you're wondering what exactly does this mean. Anybody know what it actually means in Hebrew? I'm sorry. It's sort of like the. It's usually a pointing to an object. Right. So if you have something that a subject and an object, so or a verb and an object, so then it's the et is pointing to the object. So, but it doesn't make sense why we should differentiate between the two. Okay, so this is the introduction. This is what he's coming to explain, and this Torah is really very basic, fundamental Torah about bechira chafshit, about free will, about our power in the world, about what the tzaddikim are meant to be doing in this world, and we're all trying to be tzaddikim, so that's for all of us. And so to explain this, he explains the following: that he starts by saying that when Hashem created the world, so he created the world through the letters. Okay? Now what does this mean? That when he started creating, in the act of creation, meaning that before creation there was only God, there was only an infinite existence. And then he came from that infinite existence to a relatable experience, to a relatable existence, to a relatable creation. So the building block of the creation was the Aleph Bet. So the first thing that he actually needed to create was actually the Aleph Bet. So in the creation of the world, the first step of the creation of the world was actually the creation of the Aleph Bet. So the first thing he did was that he created the concept of Aleph. The next thing that he created was the concept of Bet. The next thing after that was the concept of Gimel, until he got to Taf. Okay, so this is the act of creation before he was able to create the world, so that he had to create the building blocks of the world, and the building blocks of the world is actually the Aleph Bet. So he had to create the Aleph Bet. So this is, if you've been following our classes on the energies of the months. So in every month we talk about we talk about the letter of the month. In the month of Av, so we spoke about the letter Tet, okay, and the letter Tammuz, we spoke about the letter Chet, and in every month has a particular letter, and we speak about the energy of the letter. And so the truth is that every letter has a certain energy, and if you were able to manipulate the energies of the letters, you'll be able to create the world, just as Hashem, when he created the world, so Vayomer Elokim Yihi Or, that he created the world through speech, and speech is made of words, and words made of letters, so every letter has energy, and through the energy he's able to create. So the basic fundamental thing over here is that every letter has an energy, and through this energy that Hashem was creating the world. So before he started creating the world, he needed to create the concept of the letters. Okay, so the building block of creation was the Aleph Bet, and so the first thing that Hashem was doing in the creation of the world was to create the Aleph Bet. Now, in this sequence of creating the Aleph Bet, so obviously there's a difference between the Aleph and the Bet and the Gimel until it gets to the Taf. Okay, so what exactly is the difference
between letters?
Between the letters. So Aleph is, because it was the first letter to be created, so by definition, it's the most connected with Hashem. So that's why, in many contexts, so the letter Aleph is connected to Hashem. Okay, one is Hashem. Aleph is one. Okay, so one is Hashem. Okay, we refer to Aleph. The word Aleph is connected to the Hebrew word which means aluf. Aluf means champion. Okay, so if you've ever, it says on cornflakes, it's the breakfast of champions. Okay, so the alufo, Hashem is the alufo shalalam. Hashem is the champion of the world. Okay, so Aleph is a reference to Hashem. That's why, if you know that the way that the Aleph is made, so it's made that it has a Yud on the top, a Yud at the bottom, and a Vav connecting. Right? So that the reason why the Aleph is made of a Yud, and a Vav is because 26 is a reference to Hashem. Because Hashem's name is Yud Kei Vav Kei, is the numerical value of 26. Okay, so that's why Aleph is always a reference to Hashem. Okay, so like in a lot of places, whenever you see Aleph, that Aleph it's an elevated letter. It's an elevated letter. That's why in the Ten Commandments, for example, so Hashem starts the Ten Commandments with the letter Aleph. Yeah, Anochi Hashem Elokecha. So.
But Torah should start with that.
Okay, that's we'll get to that B'ezrat Hashem. So now, when you get to the very bottom of the alphabet, so you get to the letter Taf. Okay? Now, what do we know about the letter Taf?
It's the last letter.
So he says that the Marinayim, the Chernobyl says that Taf is Makom HaBechira. It's in Taf that there's options, that there's the ability to have different possibilities. Okay, that is created in the letter Taf. Okay, and it brings the source to this. Kamasha Amru Tav Techaya Tav Tamut. Okay, so the Maranayim over here is referring to a Gemara in Shabbos. It says that Hashem tells Yechezkel HaNavi that, talking about the people that during the time of the Churban Abayis, so he says V'hisvisa Tav Chayim, that you should write a sign of life. What does it mean, a sign of life? So Tav is literally the word Tav is an indentation. So the indentation is that Hashem was telling Yechezkel Navi that you should write an indentation on the tzaddikim, that they should live, and write an indentation of death on the wicked people, that they should die. Okay? Specifically, so the Gemara explains that writing a Tav of ink is a sign of life, and writing a Tav of blood would be a sign of death. Okay, so the Tav is the thing that's giving the place for different possibilities, meaning that when you have a situation that some people are chas v'shalom going to die and other people are going to survive, so it's in the Tav, it's in the indentation, it's in their gzar din, it's in their decree, that the difference between the different people accepting, the different receivers of this judgment, so the differentiation comes in the letter Taf. Okay? So the word Taf, this indentation, which is the sign, so this is where there's a difference, that some go to life and some go to death. Okay, this isn't Taf. Whereas in Aleph is one. In the word of one, so there is no different, there's no possibility of having different possibilities. There's no possibility of having that some people are going to live and some people are going to die. Okay? So it starts with Aleph. Aleph is the closest to Hashem, And in the world of Aleph, so there is no possibility of differentiation. And then Hashem trickles down. He brings his existence into a lower level of existence. And when it gets to Tav, so then there's some who live, some who die. Okay, this is bracha and klala. This is the some people are blessed, some people are cursed, and there is blessing in the world, there is curse in the world, and this is all only once we get to the letter Tav. Okay, so now. So it says that, behold, I've put in the world bracha and klala, and he quotes from the pasuk in Nitzavim, later in the Torah, that it says uvacharta b'chaim, that you should choose life. Okay, to always choose life. Okay, so that's a mitzvah. It's incumbent on us that when we see this differentiation, when we see these different possibilities, so we should always make sure that we are going to choose life. That we're going to make the right decisions. Okay, that we're going to connect to the part of existence that we're meant to connect to. So what does this mean? That the more that you get detached from the source, the easier it is to get confused. Okay? The more that things are obvious, the more that things are connected to the source, so the more that that there's less possibility of confusion. Okay? That when everything is light, when everything is lit up, so then everything is very clear, and there's no room for confusion. And it's only when it gets more trickled down, when it gets that there's more curse in the world, when then it's easier to get confused, and then it's possible for a person to get mixed up. And that's why the Torah says that, behold, I've given before you today bracha and klala, uvachat v'chaim, that I want you to make sure that you're actually making the right decisions. Okay. So explains this further, that really this idea of having bracha and klala in the world, so the truth is that even though, like from the essence of the letter Tav, it was really predestined that there should be a possibility of making mistakes. But the truth is that really this got really apparent in the world from the sin of the tree of knowledge. Okay, from the chet of the Eitz Hadat. Okay, what happened to the Eitz Hadat? So the Eitz Hadat is the Eitz Hadat Tov V'Ra, the tree of knowing good and evil. So what happened when Adam and Eve, when they ate from the tree of knowledge? So what happened? So many things happened. But one of them is, one of the most tragic things that happened is that it's from this sin that the world became very, very unclear. That there became this darkness, this confusion in the world, that there was a big mix-up between good and evil. And that's what it means. Eitz Hadat Tov V'Ra, that Tov and Ra, good and bad, can really reside inside of us, and it can feel comfortable. That like we can have good thoughts and bad thoughts together, and we won't even know the difference. Okay, and that's one of the things that happened as a result of the sin of the Eitz Hadat. The way that the Rav Dessler explains is that before the sin of the Eitz Hadat, so our Yetzer Hara, all the source of evil, was something external. It was something which was like outside of us. It was something that when somebody was trying to convince us to do something wrong, so it was like, here, come with me. Like, life is nice on this side of the gate, on this side of the fence. Like, come to Neverland, and like we'll have a good time. And like, come on. Don't you understand how boring your life is? Come on, do mitzvahs all day. Come on, come with me. Come, well, and it was more of a curiosity. Right? There was no such thing when a person is trying to convince you to come to their side of the fence. So you don't really think that that's what I want. It's just like you're curious, right? So that's the way that Adam Rishon lived before the sin of the Eitz Hadat. But after the sin of the Eitz Hadat, so then all of our struggles in life became very different. It was no longer just a curiosity, but rather it was a voice inside of us that was telling us this is really what we want, even though it's really the opposite of what we want. Really, that after the sin of the Eitz Hadat, so we have this voice inside of us, and it tells you, come on, feed me, and really, it's not you. Not only is it not you, but it's actually your greatest enemy. And part of our struggle in life is to be able to point out within ourselves that which voices are the real us. Okay, so as a result of the sin of the Eitz Hadat, so there's a tremendous ta'arovet, there's a tremendous mix-up, a combination of good and evil in the world, that first of all, within ourselves, that we're actually confused, and also that within the world itself, that you can have that a mitzvah, that within the mitzvah has an avera, you can have an avera that within the avera has a mitzvah, and there's this, that the sin of the Eitz Hadat brought tremendous confusion into the world. So now, what is our job in this world? Our job in this world is to live in this confusion and be able to pick out the goodness. Okay, to be able to find that even though life is not so black and white, life is actually very, very complex, and sometimes something will seem on paper like it's the best thing in the world, and the truth is that it's the biggest avera, and something will look on paper like it's the biggest avera, and the truth is that it's the biggest mitzvah. I'm remembering now, like we just had. I forgot the story when we just gave a class about the Chazon Lublin on Wednesday. So I just remembered another story about the Chazon Lublin, that there was a certain misnagid that was very much against the Chazon Lublin, and so I think he was against Rebbe Melech, and so he was telling his students about how evil Rebbe Melech is, and what an Amaretz Rebbe Melech is, and why nobody should. And so the Chazon Lublin said that it's such an amazing thing that the Yetzer Hara can come to a person that from the age 3 or 4, and he can start to tell him to be a tzaddik, and tell him, come on, you should learn more Torah, come on, you should do more mitzvahs, and the entire purpose of the Yetzer Hara trying to convince this person to do mitzvahs is because that 70 years from now, you're going to be a really famous rabbi, and then you'll be able to speak against Rebbe Melech Mlezhinsk, and people are going to listen to you. So really, his entire this Rav, his entire learning career, his entire life, as he was sure that he was a God-fearing Jew, and he was sure that he was following his Yetzer Tov, and the truth is that every voice inside of him, come on, you should learn more, it was all from his Yetzer Hara. Why was the Yetzer Hara wanted this guy to be a big Talmid Chacham? The Yetzer Hara wanted this guy to be a big Talmid Chacham in order that when he's 75 years old, he should be able to talk against Rebbe Melech Mlezhinsk. And so that's crazy. Like when we hear the story, it should shake us up. You know, that sometimes we could have a voice inside of us that's telling us to do something which is absolutely good, and really it's from a Yetzer Hara. And you could have a voice inside of us that's telling us to do something which is absolutely bad, and it's really from Yetzer Tov. Okay, that's the reality of this confusion of the Eitz Hadat. That there's such this like lack of clarity in the world between good and evil.
So what are we supposed to do as very
Excellent question. Okay, so how do we focus on the good? How do we find the good? So the Meir explains that inside of us we also have this good and evil, which is so mixed up. Okay, and this is also, as we said, a result of the sin of the Eitz Hadat. And before the sin of the Eitz Hadat, it was much more clear and it was much more obvious which part of us is pointing us towards good, which part of us is pointing us towards bad. And since then we don't have clarity, and we have inside of us both Yitzarim. So if our insides is more good, so then we're going to see more good. If we on the inside are more bad, we're going to see bad. Okay, in other words, that in everything in the world, and that is that we have inside of us a Yetzer Tov and a Yetzer Hara, and what is our job in this world? This is something that the Tanya speaks about at length. That our job in this world is to make sure that our Yetzer Tov is in control. Okay. How do we do this? do this by contemplation, by hitbonenut, by taking time for ourselves, and trying to figure out, like, what do I really want in life? And by trying to make these decisions, by trying to figure out, like, what am I really looking for in life, to which part of me, like analyzing where are different voices coming from, and how can I really be in control? How can I really bring myself to a better place, to be the best version of myself? So the more that my Yetzer Tov is in control, so then my Yetzer Hara is actually becomes subservient. Okay, it becomes like an eved. It becomes like a slave. Okay, my Yetzer Hara can become a slave to my Yetzer Tov. I can be in control, and on the other hand, a person who's making all the wrong decisions, so his Yetzer Tov can be a servant, can be a slave to his Yetzer Hara. Okay, you can have a person that his Yetzer Tov is in control. You can have a person that his Yetzer Hara is in control, and this is going to affect our perception of the world.
But how can I know which one's the right and the wrong choice? If, based on what we said before, anything is confusion.
Right.
I can think I'm making the right choice, but really it's the wrong one.
Like, you're talking about once you have an actual challenge in front of you. We're talking about even before that. We're talking about before there's anything necessarily to do, that I'm simply trying to ask myself, what do I want with my life? Okay, and this is how we make right decisions. The way to properly make decisions in life is to, before we have a challenge, to sit with ourselves and say that what do I really want in life? That am I trying to grow? Am I trying to improve? Am I trying to become holier? Am I trying to become more spiritual? Am I trying to just be a better person? Am I trying to help other people? Or am I trying to grow? Or am I just trying to survive? Am I just trying to?
You're saying the yes.
So this is an elementary exercise, is to simply sit with myself and try to figure out that, am I in control or am I a slave? Am I simply reacting to my Yetzer Hara? And this is how we grow as a people. Now, after that, regardless of how I dealt with myself, so the fact is that there's a program that the more that my Yetzer Hara is in control, I'm going to see the evil in the world. The more that my Yetzer Tov is in control, the more I'm going to see good in the world.
When you say good and evil, what do you mean by that?
Right. Good is the things that we're supposed to be connecting with, and the evil is being the things we're not supposed to connect with. So when the more that I'm in charge of myself, the more that my Yetzer Tov is in control. So wherever I look, I'm going to see good. I'm going to be able to connect to the goodness in things. The more that my Yetzer Hara is in control, so the more that when I look at the world, I'm going to see the bad things. I'm going to connect with the bad things. I'm going to say, hey, that's a food that I didn't try yet. That's a girl that I didn't hang out with yet. That's a experience that I haven't experienced yet. And I'm going to be looking for the bad because that's what I am. Okay? You see what you are. Okay? So the more that you are a refined human being, the more that you are a Yetzer Tov human being, so you're going to see good in the world. Okay? And the more that the opposite, the more that you're allowing your Yetzer Hara to take control of you, so then when you look at the world, so then that's actually going to control you. Yeah.
So that rabbi made a lot of bad choices
Mm-hmm.
and wasn't so refined?
The person, so he was living life with autopilot. Because he was living life with autopilot, he never really sat down to think that, why do I want to learn? He was doing the right thing, but for the wrong reason. If he would have sat down, do I want to become a better person? So it would have brought him to learning Torah from a good perspective. And then he never would have come against tzaddikim, right?
So you're saying don't just do things for the sake of good, but think about what you're doing.
No, if you're doing things for the sake of good, you're already in a good place. Don't do things in autopilot.
Well, that's the sake of good. Like that's autopilot. I'm doing this because that's good, so I'll do it.
No, that's good.
That is good, you're saying.
Yeah. Doing bad is, I'm doing this
so what's
because...
autopilot then? What do you mean by autopilot? Like just open up the door and kiss the mezuzah without thinking about it?
Yeah. It looks like you're thinking, so you're in a good shape. But other people don't think. So people that don't think, so then it's possible for them to do good things just by rote, because other people are convincing them, other people are pressuring them, other people are telling them that this is the way to make a lot of money, this is the way to have a good status in your social circles. Like, there's lots of good reasons, lots of bad reasons, to do the right things, that you can do the right things for the wrong reasons. That's actually bringing you to a bad place. Okay?
So only you know if you're doing it for the right reason or not. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
What I mean to say is
I also know. But,
you're saying just be aware of what you're doing. Like, don't just.
But couldn't they get so tricky to think that you're doing it for the right reasons?
No, that's not much the point. The point is really that if you really sit down with yourself and you really ask yourself that, am I trying to be a better person?
Right.
So then you'll be okay.
Like meditate.
You're a little bit hopeless. It sounds like it's very, very pessimistic that we're actually hopeless. That if you don't think, then you're hopeless. But if you sit down, to ask myself, do I really want to grow? Do I really want to become a better person? So then you're able to really be in control, and that's actually absolutely is in our control. I was speaking to somebody just an hour ago, somebody that's had a very hard life with addictions, and I've been in touch with her for a long time already, for I don't know, maybe 5 years, and whatever, she's a victim of different kinds of abuse, and she's she's been involved with in and out of alcohol and drugs and different things for a long time, and she's coming to she spoke to me tonight, she feels like a failure. She feels she's come to peace with the fact that she's not going to succeed. Until now, she's been looking at her success as something as being clean, and she's been able to have 2 months or so of being clean and being sober, and then she always has relapse, and she's just giving in to being a failure. So I told her that something I heard recently in the context of nechama. Right now, last week was Shabbos Nachmu, and we're in this period of time, the 7 weeks leading to Rosh Hashanah, is called the Shiva de Nechemta, the 7 weeks of Nechama, the 7 weeks of comfort. So I heard a very beautiful idea, and that is that what is Nechama? What is comfort? How can you be consoled when something is backwards, when something is not the way it's supposed to be? The facts are still the facts. So how is it possible to be comforted? The way to be comforted is to change your perspective, is to change your perception. And that's something that's in your control, to change your perception, because the facts are not going to change. Okay? But it could change how you judge those facts. Okay? So the facts could be that after every 2 months of every 2 months of being sober, so you go into relapse. And your perception could be, therefore, I'm a failure, right? But you could have a different perception, that some people wouldn't have made it 5 years, and you're surviving, and you keep on going, and you haven't given up yet. And to look at the fact that you're surviving as a success, so that's that's a different perception, right? You're the exact same reality that one person was looking at, that until now you were looking at as that I'm accepting that I am a failure. So you could look at the exact same thing with it could have been worse, and I'm actually a success. So this is putting it into a different perception. That's how you, another thing I told her is that until now you've been looking at success as being clean, and you come to terms with the fact that that's not going to happen, that you're not going to be clean for an extended amount of time. So that doesn't mean that you have to give up. Maybe you can, within the terms of your different issues, different addictions, so you can make life a little bit better, a little bit better. You can find a little bit of meaning, between sips. I told her, so keep on getting wasted. It's okay. I'm not telling you not to get wasted. Just keep on getting wasted, but between sips, you can find meaning in your life. Just because you're not doing this doesn't mean that you can't find meaning, and you can succeed within the realm of of wherever you are, you can still find meaning. So this is the perception that we have. This is the re'eh. Okay, this is something that you never lose control over. That the very basic power of a human being is that I have the power to write the narrative of my life. Okay, and this is why that the bechira chafshit, like having free will, is according to many sources, that this is the greatest human power that we have. So much so that when it says that when Hashem created man, b'tzelem Elokim, when Hashem created man in God's image, so this is referring to the fact that we have free will. This is referring to the fact that we have control to choose something. Okay, so what do we have to choose? The greatest thing that we have to choose is our perspective on ourselves, our perspectives on our life. Okay, and this is what's going to result in all the actions that we do, all of the choices that we make. But the very basic perception, the very basic choice that we have, the most basic free will, the most basic bechira chafshit, is in our perception of the world. Okay, so the Maranayim writes that all of bechira, it's all in the world of taf. Okay, that when we get to the bottom level, that in the world of aleph, so there is no. It's just the word of divinity. It's the word of Elokut. So there is no room for mistakes. There is no room for evil. There is no room for getting mixed up. And when we get to the realm of Tav, so then it's already so mixed up. So then it's very easy to make mistakes. So what is the job of the tzaddik? The job of the tzaddik is to go into the Tav and to return the Tav to the Aleph. Okay, to take the Tav and to see that there is a little bit of Aleph still in the Tav. That light that was so blinding when it was the Aleph, so now that it's in the Tav, now that it's in the dirt, I still see that I can still sense a little bit of Aleph. I can still sense a little bit of light in the Tav and return the Tav to the Aleph. How do I do that? I do that by, within myself, to that all of the Tav in myself, to return that to the Aleph. Okay, meaning that as a result of taking control of myself, making my Yetzer Hatov to be the owner, to be the master, to be the one who's calling the shots, to make my Yetzer Hara subservient to my Yetzer Tov, to make sure that like I don't let him take control of me. So the more that I am a person that has met my Yetzer Tov being in control of my Yetzer Hara, so I'm an Aleph dominant person. So therefore, when I go into the world, I'm going to see all of the Aleph in the world. And this is really like it's really a very, very critical thing in that we are in control of what we see in the world. Now, he writes over here that the Torah from the Baal Shem Tov, that when we talk about life and death, so that when a person is not living to his potential, there's a certain death in every mistake. He writes that it's that when you even if you're not living at the highest level, so then there's a certain avodah zarah, there's a certain idolatry in that in every level of existence, in every level of perception, so you can be more connected to Hashem or be less connected to Hashem. And every level of that existence, so if I'm not recognizing God in the world, so that's a little bit of avodah zarah. Okay? What does it mean avodah zarah? That means that there's something else. Okay? That the way that we're supposed to be living is to bring everything, to bring all of the tough. What is the tough? The tough is that the possibility of having something else, and to say that no, I'm bringing that back to Hashem. I'm recognizing that that's something else that wasn't meant to be. It was meant just for me to discard it, for me to pick the good, to find the goodness inside of it, and to come back to the Aleph, come back to my service of Hashem. And in every level of choosing other, of having this not divinity, not holiness, so there's a little bit of avodah zarah in that. And this is why the tzaddik has to necessarily be involved in the world. it's not enough. It's not enough to just be in the base medrash the whole day. It's not enough to be in the world of Aleph the whole day. And that is the Re'ei Anochi Noten Lechem Bracha Ukala. Et HaBracha, that the bracha necessitates having a taf. Okay? He brings a very beautiful pasuk. It says in Shir Hashirim, Akumana v'savav ba'ir, that I'll get up and I'm going to walk around in the city. Bashvakim of Archovas, I'm going to go into the shuk, going to go into the streets. Avaksha es sha'av nafshi, I'm going to search for my beloved. So the Chernobyl says, what does this mean? That he's looking for kedusha. He's looking for Hashem. So where does he look for Hashem? He looks for Hashem in the shuk. Just like half an hour ago, before the class, I saw an old friend of mine from America, and he's here with his family, and he said his wife heard that it's better to go to the shuk at night because it's more quiet. I told her sorry, she's out of date. That was 10 years ago. It was better to go at night. Nowadays, nowadays, there's more of a Tel Aviv life in. Okay, so he wants to go to the shuk. At the shuk, that's where he's going to find Hashem. Okay, so she's going to find it. I promise you. So, what happened in the shuk? And the shuk is a reference to just having business deals. Okay, the world of business. So that he's looking for Hashem, but where is he looking for Hashem? He's looking for Hashem in the world of business. He's looking for Hashem that in the world of Asik. Because that one of the most basic things that is in being a Jew is that to be honest in your business and in your business endeavors, that to not forget Hashem in your basic mundane affairs. That Hashem wants to be part of every meal. Hashem wants to be part of every interaction. Hashem wants to be part of every every business meeting, every just get together, every whatever is happening. That Hashem wants to be there too. There's a way to do that too. There's a way that Hashem wants you to do that, and by doing it the way that Hashem wants you to do it, you're bringing Hashem into it. So this is what it means. That he's looking for his beloved, he's looking for Hashem, but where's he looking? He's looking in the Bashvakim of Rachavas, he's looking in the Shuk. And that's where he finds it. And he says that sometimes you can find it there even more than in the Beis Medrash. That he writes that the Gemara says that Zacha nasa l'sam achayim, lo zacha nasa l'sam amavis. That person merits, so the Torah can be for him a medicine of life. And if he's not zacha, if he comes up with a bad perception, with a bad mindset, so then the Torah can actually make it worse. It can be a sam amavis. It can be a poison. Torah can be a poison if you come with the wrong mindset. Okay, if you come into Torah with the intention that I just want to outsmart other people, with the intention that I just want to prove other people wrong, with the intention that I just want to become a big rabbi so I can get a good salary, and not in Israel, that it's actually going to be poisonous for you. It's actually you're going to become a worse person because of it, and then that's what it means that Rishayim b'chayim kruim mesim. That Rishayim, it says that even in their life they're called dead, and tzaddikim, even when they're dead, they're called alive. So he says a very beautiful interpretation that Rishayim, even b'chayehem, even when they're Isaac, even when they're involved in life, even though we're involved in kedusha, even when they were involved in the most amazing things, but they're still dead. You can be mamish be in the middle of drinking the elixir of life, and for you it's death, because you're coming with the wrong mindset, and you're going to this Torah is going to get you nowhere. And tzaddikim, afilu b'misasam. What do you mean b'misasam? Afilu even when they're doing things that at face value seems like it's unholy things, so they're being involved in business. They're just just for bringing. They're just having a nice get together. So, but the tzaddikim, they bring Hashem into every interaction, and even their misa is called chayim. Even their death is called life. Meaning, even when it seems from the outside that they're doing something which is not so holy, but for them it's holy. For them it's actually life, because they're able to see the kedusha. They're able to see the holiness in everything in the physical world, and they're able to elevate it to bring the taf to the aleph. Okay, so this is how he brings this back, that Re'eh, this is how he explains the Parshat. That's how he explains this week Parsha. Okay? And this is what it means to live this week with the Parshas Re'eh. Re'eh is about seeing. So seeing the bracha, seeing the goodness, and being in control. So Re'eh anochi nosen lefnechem hayom bracha uklala. That you need to see that I'm putting before you in this world bracha uklala et habracha. Okay, what does it mean et habracha? So the et, this is a reference to that aleph and taf. So look at the taf and return the taf to the aleph. Okay, that in everything in the world, so there's going to be a taf, there's going to be a bechira, there's going to be different ways of looking at it, and I want you to find the goodness, and focus on the goodness, and that's going to create your reality. And bring that to the top, bring that to the aleph. Find the source, the heavenly source. Now, this is something that Rabbi Nachman talks about in the very first Torah, that Ish HaYisraeli tzarich sheyistakel b'seichel shekol davar. Okay, this is the Torah aleph of Rabbi Nachman, that in every single thing in the world, so a Jew needs to find the seichel, to find the chachma, to find the wisdom, to find the life source of every single thing in the world. Okay, this is a way of living life, that we're programming ourselves to focus on holiness, that everywhere we go, to be able to zoom in on the holiness. Every person that we meet, to be able to find the goodness in them. Every action that we encounter, to find how that can have some redeeming quality, that there is something good about it. There is some way that this can actually bring us to this is really this is what it means to be a Jew. That in every opportunity, there's always going to be the people that whatever comes their way, they're going to look this as an opportunity to just get free drinks or just free parties or just whatever, and there's how to get more money, how to manipulate people, and there's always going to be the people that in every opportunity they're going to say, how can I find Hashem in this opportunity? Okay, so you can find the people that they're going to see Torah and see, how can I get money out of this, and you can have there's even sick people out there that they see Torah and they say, how can I get sex out of this? These are rabbis that have scandals and that you can have an evil person that even in the holiest things they see, how can I get something bad out of this? And you have holy people that even if they have money is great. I want you to have lots of money. But you can have holy people that they see the most mundane things. They see I'm pretty sure that Chabad had tefillin stands at the Pride Parade, because you have people are coming to the Pride Parade, and there's probably people that didn't put on tefillin. So, yeah, no. So they see what everybody else is saying, we need to destroy them, this can't exist, and they're saying, hey, free mitzvahs, that's.
They see an opportunity.
It's an opportunity, So that's to see that tzaddik. So re'eh. So et habracha. Et habracha is that in every single thing that comes my way, I see the good. Okay, and so this is the et habracha. The et habracha is that I take the taf and I bring it to the aleph, and that's the et.
So
Yeah.
tough is, are we supposed to look at tough as a bad letter? Like
No,
It's an opportunity.
Taf is opportunity. Taf is the physical existence. Taf is the lowest level of creation.
so it's malchut? Or
You could, he's not saying that, but if you want to say it like that, that's possible.
I'm trying to
It's
understand. It's like bringing the tough to the aleph. It's like as though there's something bad about the tough.
no, it's not bad at all.
It's just the reality we live in.
It's separate. It's just a little bit detached. It's waiting for you to make that proper perception, to be able to look at the taf with the eyes of a tzaddik, and say that I'm going to bring you to the top, and say that I see your potential. I see that you're a diamond in the mud, and I'm going to bring you back to the top. Right now you're in the world of Eitz Hadat, you're in the world of the confusion, but I see a good spark in here, and I'm going to focus on you and redeem you. Okay, so this is what? So this is what the tzaddik does. Okay, so this is how the tzaddik lives in this world, and it's through our perception that we make the world into a better world. And this is like that you can look in the world and see that the world, and say, like, see all of the evil and see how messed up it is, and you can just come to the conclusion that, like, that's it, we should give up, we should just move to the desert, start a new community, and or you can, and that's evil, that's the Yetzer Hara, right? And the other alternative is that you can see in the tough, to see in all of this confusion, to see that there is something good, and there is something that I can redeem, and I can focus on that. And that is making the world into a better place. That this is the power that we have. This is the power of Bechira. This is the power of free will. This is our greatest power. This is a superpower. It's a super. We have the ability to change our perception. We have the ability to look at the same fact and say that that somebody else is going to say we're hopeless, that we should give up, we should just, like, curse this, we should fight this, we should move out, and the other person says, I see this as an opportunity, and it's all dependent on us. Okay, if we're going that people that the Yetzer Hara has gotten the best of them, they are the people that they see depression, they see failure, they see that evil is everywhere, and the people that have refined themselves, the people that have really gotten to the place of that they are more connected with their Yetzer Tov, they're more connected to their hope, they're more connected to their soul, so then that's what they see. That's what they see. Okay? There's a great story with the Satmar Rav. The Satmar Rav was huge tzaddik, but he was most famous for his anti-Zionism. Okay, that he was of the opinion that it's not that it was of the opinion that the state of Israel is coming from the forces of evil. So he would mention this a lot in his in his Divrei Torah. So once a chassid asked him, like, that Rebbe, that, like, Parshat Bereishis. So you said, you got up and you said, that guys, you have to know the message of Parshat Bereishis is that the Zionists are evil. And then Parshat Noach, you said, guys, you have to know the message of Parshat Noach is that the Zionists are evil. And then Parshat Lech Lecha, you called up and you said, guys, you have to know that the message of Parshat Lech Lecha is, Rabbi, it can't be every parsha that's the message. Come on, like Hashem is like, the Torah is so diverse. Okay, so the Rebbe told him that you're right. That there's lots of messages, and every single parsha there's thousands and thousands of messages. But when you wear red sunglasses, so just everywhere you look, you see red. Okay, so this is mamish what the Morinayim is telling us, that how we're going to see the world, it's dependent on us. That we need to have this time to ourselves. We need to have this time of hitbonenut, this time of just what am I actually looking for in life? What kind of person am I? Okay, if I'm going to succeed to be a Yetzer Tov kind of person, to be an Et kind of person, to be a person that I'm positive, that I'm focusing on spirituality, I'm focusing on hope, I'm focusing on Hashem. So then, when I look at the world, everything I look, I'm going to see white glasses. I'm going to see white in everything. I can look at the most dirty thing in the world, and I'm going to be the only one that sees the light. I'm going to be the only one that sees that he has such potential. And if I'm a person that the opposite, if I'm a person that's been contaminating myself, that I'm just messing myself over and over, so then everywhere we look, I could look at the holiest place, the holiest person, the holiest activities, and I'm only going to see evil. I'm only going to see black. I'm only going to see red. So this is really our challenge in life, is to be able to see goodness everywhere, and the way that we're able to see goodness is by really refining ourselves. So this is mamish the biggest thing that we have, to see good in everything, to see good in everybody, to be able to refocus, to be able to have a perception of goodness, the perception of how can I bring this to something holy? How can I see? And like at the beginning, it's going to be a challenge, but at the end, it becomes like a second nature. It's like we just become so used to seeing Torah, so used to seeing holiness, so used to seeing opportunities, that it's not even going to be a challenge anymore, because it's simply going to be what we see. It's simply going to be a result. It's going to be a function of our eyes. So I bless us all that we should be able to refine ourselves, to refine our existence, our neshamas, like to be able to take time to ourselves, to really ask ourselves, like, what am I looking for in life? And to work on ourselves, that we're able to really be in charge, and to make proper decisions, and to make sure that the part of us that is making decisions is the part of us which is really looking for success, which is really looking to get somewhere, to get further, and to make our life a little bit better than it was before. And once we did that, then we have become people with good eyes. Then we have become that we've healed our eyes, that we're able to see the good in the world, and then we're going to be able to, everywhere we look, in all of the toughs that we look. So we're going to see the opportunity, to see the holiness, to see the value, and to see that how this is also part of this amazing life that Hashem has created for us. And that's going to bring the tikkun. So, B'ezrat Hashem.